So you're sitting further back from that, Jerry. Well, normally you sit here. You can sit wherever you want. Normally you sit here. I don't know, not in the picture. Well, we'll ask them on, we'll ask them on Saturday. Shabbat shalom. I was saying Shabbat shalom. Tonight is Maxine Coleman. These are the yard signs. Maxine Coleman, Harlan Brightstone, Manetta Cooper,
Or as long as our medical director is doing it.
Weiss.
Why would that be?
Because it's a small community, and in terms of the costumes and what the show's about, and we just want to make sure that professionally he has no issue with it. Although he was the one who suggested I go out for Rocky Horror, to which I said I'm not doing it again.
Just so you know, the call for tomorrow is in the kitchen. It's in a blue bag with a note on it that says for Sabrina Ford Bat Mitzvah, 15 October.
Okay, perfect, thank
And
you.
it's in white paper, so.
Thank you. Good Shabbos, how are you? Good. It's been so long.
I know, ages.
Ages, hours. Okay. Thank you, that's good.
I tried something new this time.
Okay.
I did a freestyle with a freestyle on top. I think I've done it once before, it's been a long time.
Fancy schmancy.
Well,
That's awesome.
a 6 braid is really difficult. So I did do a 6 braid.
They are difficult.
I have to do a full part. I get out, I know what I'm doing, but I get out the little diagram every time I do a 6 braid. And sometimes I get halfway through and have to undo it all, so.
I usually do a 4.
I've never done it before. How often do it for? I typically do a 3, and then I start in the middle, so that both ends come out.
If I want to make it really fancy, I'll do 2 3s and then put a 4 on top of it.
2 3s next to each other?
Yeah, and then put a 4 on top of it.
Huh.
It looks really fancy. That's what I'm watching.
Oh, yeah, yeah, it's beautiful.
It looks super fancy and it's super easy to do. I saw it on one of the diagrams. I have a Jewish bread making book.
Yeah, so do I.
It's the diagram that I found in there. I was like, if you're on me, I'll try to remember to maybe talk about it or bring the book in and see what about it. Anything else for tonight?
Good Shabbos, Walter. How are you?
In good health, and hope you guys are too.
All is well. All
Yes.
is well. It was a beautiful day.
Oh, my God.
Yes, it was. I was gonna do my hang on again.
That's a huge plant, my goodness.
Yes, it is.
Oh, yeah.
The one right in front of you.
In Pittsburgh, the rabbi was allergic to a lot of different flowers, so we very rarely had flowers.
Oh, we had that. Our soloist in Rochester was deathly allergic to pollen and flowers and whatever, so.
See, look how easy I am.
With the silk flowers,
Yeah.
Not quite as
I worked with a Lutheran minister at the university who convinced everybody to buy a whole storeroom of these flowers, and he would make these arrangements every week.
Sukkah looks great.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Shabbat shalom. How are you? Good. It's been a hectic few weeks. I got sick during Yom Kippur, and then I had midterms directly after them, so it's been a lot of fun.
the next week, I will try to remember, if you go out,
And it's over.
it's called platinum leaves. Yeah, I think it's called platinum. Platinum or green.
Okay.
It's made by Red Star, but it's not their normal Red Star yeast. It's in a pre-pack, it's white. And I started using it during COVID when it was the only one in the grocery store. It never hit. Never. It always. I've never been using it now for probably a year. And every once in a while I can't find it. I typically order from Amazon. Amazon always has it. Sometimes Giant Eagle has it. But it's such good. I don't know what they can do. But it's such good yeast.
I ordered yeast in a bag off of Amazon, and I found it's lasting me. So
Yeah.
I just put a smaller amount of it into a container, so I'm not constantly opening those in the bag.
Right.
I find holiday thing very relaxing. It's something I enjoy doing.
You know, a couple of times I tried to make it as a mixer. I just stopped. First of all, I mean, I have a KitchenAid mixer with a Nova. But I didn't like it as much. I needed it. And I find that therapeutic.
I really enjoy that part of it. Yeah, it's just the hands-on. I really enjoy it.
By the way, my father, many years ago, got me something called a needle mold. It's this wood burner, you drop, it's a wooden prop that you use it. And I love that. It sort of keeps it contained, it's easy to clean.
Yeah, it's cleaning the counters.
So, sure. Something that happens to get you for a birthday or something. But wouldn't be. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. How are you?
It was appreciated.
So has your voice
Wait,
recovered
Barbara
now, or
says
is it
that
still?
she's
I think it's recovered. I was trying harder. Thank you. Yeah, by the afternoon of Yom Kippur, I'm just doing my best to cover through. Yeah, I haven't done much singing this week, so we'll see how I hold up. I mean, last week it was more that, I had a day. And then we got back, so it should be okay today. But everyone should still sing tonight. I love having everybody singing along so loudly. It's so great to hear everyone. Well, I didn't really miss you. I'm always up there.
Yeah, you guys do this with a good view. I have to tell you, it's like a bear up in the woods. The trees are so pretty, it's not like they're a bird.
So maybe we can do a little sharing. Maybe we'll do a little sharing. Because we're doing Yisker also, so.
It's a good list tonight. Some babies in the yard sale list tonight.
I heard.
This evening, that's planning matters.
Okay, is it good?
It was wonderful.
Oh, awesome.
The timing of doing it and the amount of changing of scenery, it was just grand. If you have a chance, it's well worth it.
You saw like the preview, right? You saw a preview?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom and welcome. This Shabbat evening is a bit of a combination Shabbat, shall we say. We will observe Yizkor, which is the very last part of Sukkot, which we are observing this weekend, as well as our regular Shabbat service. So the service will be from the regular Shabbat Sidur, but we'll take a brief departure into some of the Yizkor prayers as we get closer, or as we approach the Kaddish moment, if you will, at the end of the service. After our service, we'll start our very first opportunity. This is sort of a trial redesign of our Talk Amongst Ourselves program, and Diane and Ingrid are graciously hosting our conversation this evening, which will be an opportunity to share Shabbat dinner and conversation together. So we will talk amongst ourselves when we're actually in person amongst ourselves, which is great, which is wonderful. So, just to get you sort of thinking a little bit, as we get to Kaddish, and we've done this a few times, if there is somebody on the Kaddish list that you would like to speak about, a memory, share an idea, we'll open that up. But please be mindful that you are standing between Jews and dinner. So brevity is important as well. So Ingrid, if you'll light our Shabbat candles on page 2. Amen. And we'll turn together to page 10 as we join Ma Yafeh Hayom, how beautiful this day is. And truly, today was a picture-perfect October day with the leaves in beautiful color and just a beautiful display.
Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
We turn over to page 12 and join in L'chune Ranana. Come, let us sing joyously to Adonai. Raise a shout for our rock and deliverer.
L'chune ranena, l'chune ranena, l'chune ranena, l'Adonai. L'chune ranena, l'chune ranena, l'chune ranena, l'Adonai. Naria, naria, litzuri, sheinu, nekad mafapetoda. Naria, naria, litzuri, sheinu, nizmirot nairalo. L'chune ranena, l'chune ranena, l'chune ranena, l'Adonai. L'chune ranena, l'chune ranena, l'chune ranena, l'Adonai.
As Shabbat makes its way into our hearts, we turn to page 20 and join together in Lecha Dodi as we welcome that Shabbat bride into our lives.
Lecha dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor
Please be seated as we continue with Shalom Aleichem, words of welcome, words of peace, blessings of peace that we extend to each other as we greet each other on this special Shabbat. We say Shalom Aleichem and we respond Aleichem Shalom.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Moachem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Ni L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzidchem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
On page 26, we join together in Chatzi Kaddish. Please rise.
Yitkada v'yitkada Shmei Rabbah.
Amen.
Ve'almad yivarach Yerutei ve'amlich malchutei. B'chayechon u'v'yamechon u'v'chayedecho Beit Yisrael. Bagala, bagala, u'v'zman kariv v'yimeru. Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah mevorach, le'alam ulal me'almaya. Yitbarach, yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitba'ar, v'yitromam, v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal. Shmei Dekudesha, Barichu. Leila min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma, v'yimeru. Amen.
We join in Baruch Hu, page 28.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch
Adonai HaMevorach.
Le'olam va'ed. Please be seated. On page 30, we join in Ma'ariv Aravim, being mindful and so aware of God's beauty and creation all around us. This blessing helps us appreciate that these amazing displays don't happen by accident, that this is part of the divine plan. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokhmah poteach sha'arim, uvitvuna meshane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umisader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem b'rakia kirtzono. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom umevi layla, umavdil ben yom uvein layla, Adonai tzavaot shemo. El chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv aravim. On page 32. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol. All these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Ahavat olam med Yisrael, Amecha ahavta, Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta, Otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shochbeinu, uvkumeinu nasiach b'chukecha, v'nizmach b'divrei Toratecha, u'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed, ki hem chayenu, ve'orech yameinu, uvahem negei yomam v'layla, negei yomam v'layla. Ve'ahavatcha l'tasir mimenu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael.
On page 34, we rise for Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai echad. 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 Baruch Shem kevod malchuto, leolam va'ed. Baruch Shem kevod malchuto, leolam va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai echad.
Please be seated as we continue with Ve'ahavta on page 36.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'derech u'shachbecha u'v'kumecha u'kshartam leot al yadecha ve'hayu letotafot beinenecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha leman tizkeru vasitem et kol mitzvotai v'tem gedoshim le'Elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Adonai Elohechem emet. Page 39. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot, osefele.
Malchutecha ra'u vanecha bokeh yam lifnei Moshe uMiriam, ze Eli anu va'amru, Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed. V'ne'emar, ki fada Adonai et Yaakov, v'galo miyad chazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. Page 43. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will.
Baruch atah Adonai haborei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu el kol amo Yisrael. Ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al kol amo. Ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al kol amo. Ve'al Yerushalayim shalom. Baruch atah Adonai haborei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu el kol amo Yisrael.
Page 45. We are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Beni uven b'nei Yisrael, oti leolam, oti leolam. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Ki ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
Page 47. Prayer invites God's presence to suffuse our spirits, God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, rebuild a weakened will. We rise together for Amidah. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open our lips, that our mouths may declare your praise.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'konei hakol, V'zocher chasdei avot v'imahot, U'mevhi geula lifnei b'neihem, L'man shemo be'ahava, Melech ozer u'moshia u'magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol atah Rav v'hoshia, Morid hatah, Mechalkel chaim b'chesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim ve'rofei cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato lishenei afar, Michamocha b'gevurot, Umidom elach, Melech limit umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah l'hachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, Kadoshim b'chol yom yahalu chasela, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
Please be seated as we continue page 53. Days pass and the years vanish and we walk sightless among miracles. God, fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illumines the darkness in which we walk. Help us to see, wherever we gaze, that the bush burns unconsumed, and we, clay-touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, how filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Page 55. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Let's join together, bottom of page 57. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, in our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha v'lecha na'eh lehodot. And on page 61, we join in our blessing for peace. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata melech Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov be'einecha levarech et amecha Yisrael bechol eit uvechol shah bishlomecha. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam.
We take a few moments for silent prayer.
Yehiyu leratzon imrefi Vegali.
We turn together to page 253. And there we find the blessing for healing. Misha Berach, may the one who blessed our ancestors give us the ability to send energies of healing to all those who need them. All those who continue to struggle with COVID, all those whose lives have been disrupted through conflict and war. Those who need a blessing of healing as their own personal healing of body or soul or mind or heart. And in our congregation, we especially mention Pat Hanna, Doug Ford, Steve Toddleman, Merv Weinman, Diane Levy, Joan Rosenthal, Corinne McCarthy, John Gayampa, Scott Gordon, Sarah Parton, Connie Mattis, Jan Woods, Frank Fusaro, Renee Goldman, Phil DiFrancesco, Jake Kaler, Debbie Perry, Amy Doherty, Dick Metcalf, Sharon Johns, Shelley Schloss, Rachel Kroner, Diane Kaler, Mary Scutella, Julie Matthews, Dane Marcinowski, Maggie Lee, Noyak Grinberg, Robert Wozniak, Cheryl Marcinowski, Pam Waters, Lloyd Rhodes, Corlin Moray, Mark Mattis, Tammy Reynolds, and Sydney Scramenti. If you're joining us via live stream and you would like to add a name, please add the name into our chat. If you are here in person and would like to add a name, please do so as I look around. We join together in our prayer for healing.
Misheberach avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Shabbat Shalom and Chag Sameach. And an additional one, Moadim L'Simcha. May this be a season of joy. And so on Sukkot, we have symbols. If you look out there, we have a beautifully decorated sukkah. It's sort of hard to see just now. You can barely see it in the dark, but it's beautifully decorated. And I encourage you after services to go outside, take a look on your way home. Our Gesher students beautifully decorated the sukkah with wonderful decorations and painted pumpkins and all kinds of great things. So take a look on your way home. And has anybody never had the opportunity to shake a lulav or an etrog? We'll start with never. Danielle, come on up. Okay, so lulav and etrog. Symbols of gratefulness. So we have the lulav, which is comprised of 3 different greenery. One is the palm branch, the other is the myrtle, and then the willow. There are lots of stories about why these 3 are chosen. One of them that I like is that together they symbolize our whole selves. The palm branch, long and straight, symbolizes our strength and our bodies, our back, our spine. The myrtle is in the shape of an eye, so the way we see things that we can appreciate. And our mouths are, the willow is the willow leaf, if you turn it sideways, is like our mouths. And so we express our gratitude with our mouths. And then the etrog, perhaps the least useful fruit in the world, and yet one of the most beautifully smelling fruits. You can make a jam or marmalade out of this thing. It's beyond me, but there you are. But its symbol is of a heart. And in the ancient world, the heart was not only the emotion center, but also the intellectual center of the body. The ancients thought that's where both intellect and emotions came from. And so when we put these together, we're thankful with our intellect and our emotions and our feelings, and we're thankful with our whole bodies. And so we start with the very special etrog. This is like a lemon, but it's from the lemon family, but it's not. It's called an etrog, and it's really only grown in Mediterranean areas. They come all the way from Israel. We have them brought in. And in order for it to be used on Sukkot, it has to be perfect. And so it has to have this pitom, this very small stem, intact. So what we do is we have the pitom facing down, and we say the blessing. And for every blessing, there's a deliberate action that has to go along with it. And so for this blessing, the deliberate action is that we take the etrog, we turn it around, so the pitom is facing up, we bring it together with the lulav, and we shake in all directions. Okay, so etrog in that hand, lulav in this hand. Very good. Okay, and you ready?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
It won't bite. And the blessing that we say is the blessing that we say for any observance or mitzvah, and then we end with the words al nitilat lulav. Al nitilat lulav, which means to raise up the lulav. So we'll join together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al netilat lulav. And because this is your very first time, and the very first time for many of us this year, we join in Shehechianu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Shehechianu v'kiyamanu v'higiyanu lazman hazeh. Very good. You put it together and you shake in all directions. So, yeah, and then off to the side, and then behind you, and off to that side, way up high, way down low. Great. Now, pass it off to somebody who also hasn't had the opportunity this year. And we have another lulav and etrog also. We'll start this one over here. And you can shake them as we go. It's okay, go ahead. I'm going to keep talking, you keep shaking. Very good. So Sukkot is this wonderful time of thanks. And it is no accident that one of the things that we are thankful for are the memories of people that shared our lives. And so Sukkot are one of the 4 times a year in which we engage in Yizkor, or remembrance. Yizkor is a time to call to mind those who are part of our lives, those we shared our lives with, and those who are no longer part of this world. It's no accident that Judaism, in its incredible insight into the human condition, says to us that grief is not something that we get over. Grief does not go anywhere. The feelings are always there, as the love of the people that we have for those who shared our lives with always is with us. And so our tradition says at these difficult times, because it is at festival times, at happy times and celebrations, that we're so powerfully reminded that those precious people aren't with us in that same way anymore. And so our tradition says, this is a moment, this is a time. And the loss could have been decades ago, could have been a childhood loss. And yet, in these moments, we bring those feelings forward. We treasure them. We treasure those memories, those sacred times shared together. The celebrations that we shared along the path of life. And so we'll begin with Esa Enai. I lift my eyes to the mountains. What is the source of my help? My help comes from God.
Shamayim ba'aretz, Ezri me'im Adonai, Oseh shamayim ba'aretz.
Birth is a beginning and death a destination. And life is a journey from childhood to maturity and youth to age. From innocence to awareness and ignorance to knowing, from foolishness to discretion, and then, perhaps, to wisdom, from weakness to strength or strength to weakness, and often back again, from health to sickness, and back we pray to health again, from offense to forgiveness, from loneliness to love, from joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion and grief to understanding, from fear to faith, from defeat to defeat to defeat, until looking backward or ahead, we see that victory lies not at some high place along the way, but in having made the journey, stage by stage, a sacred pilgrimage. Birth is a beginning and death a destination. But life is a journey from birth to death to life everlasting. In times of grief, we reach for comfort and consolation, often the words of the 23rd Psalm, God being our shepherd, our protector, our caregiver.
Adonai roi lo echsar, vinot deshe yarbitzeni, al mei menuchot, yenaleni. lo irara ki atai madi shiltecha mishantecha Hamuni Taroch lefanai, lefanai, shulchan etzorerai, dishanta Lashem en roshi kosi rivaya achtom chesed yirdefuni koyem chayai koyem chayai lishavti mivit Adonai leorech yamim Adonai roi lo echsar Adonai roi lo echsar
And so with those memories of those loved ones in our hearts, we turn together to Aleinu, page 282, as we rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. אנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים עמו. ושכינתו זו בגובהי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו. וידעת היום בהשבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים עמו, והארץ מתחת אין עוד. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. As our thoughts turn to the words of Kaddish, those words which don't mention death but really challenge us to appreciate the beauty and the gifts that God has given us. And on this Sukkot Shabbat, when we are so mindful of all of the things we are thankful for, if there is somebody that you would like to share just a brief word about, somebody perhaps on the yard site list, or perhaps somebody who is not on the yard site list. Jan?
Minetta Cooperman is on the list. Minetta was my secretary at the community school for many years. She was in her 90s. She had been a public school teacher. She loved the children. She never had any children of her own, of their own term. When she passed away, I remember Rachel Bleethall said to me, "Who is going to collect the tzedakah and count it now?" And when she died, she left her money to the temple for our children, and it's still being used today, the Cooperman Fund.
Beautiful. If you are sharing, I'm going to ask you to come up to the front so that people on Zoom and YouTube rather can hear.
So I will be very quick, but I would be remiss. I mentioned Frank Fox last week, that the teacher who all the kids behave for. The other teacher who all the kids in that terrible class that I was a part of behaved for was Arlene Breakstone. When she walked in the room, there was no backtalk, there was no trouble. So she was the second one.
There are actually 10 people on this list today that I knew, and that Lyman knew, and many others here. Bobby, of course, knew, but our building here is here because on our list today is Alec Fisher. So that this important person of our congregation made this facility possible. And while I'm also can mention Emmer Selig and Isaac Sherman and Maxine Coleman, Eugene Weiss, Samuel Sobel, Rachel Gage, and of course Arlene and Minetta Cooperman also. All of those were dear friends of many of our people here.
Thank you.
So thank you, Julie, for mentioning my mother, so Arlene Breakstone. And she was, you can see her picture, as the first woman president. For those people that are here that wouldn't have met her, she's the first woman president of the temple. And her picture's on the wall. What year? What year? That is a good question. After Walter, the first time, or the second time. So, and then before Bobby. No, after Bobby. No, before Bobby. 82, well, anyway, go look at the picture, look at the year. And so the temple was a special place for us. I will have to tell you, my brother, we were joking after services the other night after Yom Kippur, and my mother was very involved in the temple. My father, not so much. And he was a big guy like my brother is. And Robert was saying, I think I remember Dad driving like 11 miles an hour to get down to the temple for Yom Kippur services one year. Only time he ever drove slowly was going to the temple.
Okay, later? Okay. So we are in the period of Shloshim for Bob Prevashevsky Sr., the father of Bob and Darlene Prevashevsky, and for Marilyn Krowinski Porter, the sister of Bill and Rochelle Krowinski. And on this Shabbat, we observe Yartzeit for Molly Peel, Ernest Selig, Rose Frank, Henry Zaks, Isaac Sherman, Julius Aaron, Rachel Davis, Robert Cohen, Maxine Coleman, Rosa Semler, Eugene Weiss, Samuel Sobel, Joseph Schwab, Irvin Goldman, Alec Fisher, Miriam Goodman, Arlene Breakstone, Frida Reichert Rosenberg, Rachel Zaks Gage, Betty Jean Kay, Balbina Oppenheimer, Minetta Cooperman, and Stanislaw Wisik. If you're joining us by a live stream, I'm sorry it's hard to participate in those sharing of ideas or memories, but please, if you have a name to add, please add it into our chat. If you are here in person and have any name to add, please do so. And so we turn together to the words of Kaddish on page 294. Please rise. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ba'alma divrach rutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyom echon, uvchayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach ve'elam u'larmeh almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, V'yithadar, v'yitale, v'yitalal, shemei dekutsha barichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechemata, da'amiran bi'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, amen. Please be seated. I'd like to welcome Craig George to the Bima to share some announcements.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Services this week are in honor of Sabrina Ford becoming a bat mitzvah. And tomorrow, and so that is the announcement for tomorrow. At 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, Sabrina Ford is called to the Torah as a bat mitzvah, and you can participate in that, view that here in person or on YouTube. So that is in person and on YouTube. And then on Sunday, we have Gesher, regular Gesher classes at 9:30, but they are followed and open to the congregation, a 12 o'clock Simchat Torah service. And Rabbi, I believe you're unwrapping an entire Torah. That is something to see if you have never seen that before, to see the entire Torah scroll opened and all the columns and all the sheets, and what an endeavor it is to write a Torah and to scribe a Torah. It's a sight to see. So, and then one more announcement for the folks that are here, and I'm sure you know this already. We have a different talk amongst ourselves this evening. We are celebrating that this evening with a dinner, and so don't forget those who are here. Shabbat Shalom.
Just one further announcement. Next weekend we have a fabulous weekend planned. We have our Scholar in Residence. Jewish Community Council is sponsoring our Scholar in Residence weekend with Cantor Rosalie Will, who is not a stranger to Temple. She's been here a couple times before. And a wonderful, wonderful cantor, and will be a great evening. We'll have Friday evening here at our temple. Saturday morning, we'll join together at Bris Shalom. There's a Kiddush lunch if you would like to join us. There's email information on how to RSVP for that. And then on Sunday, we'll have a community concert and lunch, actually, and you're welcome to come. On Sunday will be a really interesting musical series of musical selections and teachings and stories all around the history and evolution of music and in Israel. So songs and stories as we trace our way through Israeli history and the weaving of music. It will be really an interesting kind of an experience with Cantor Will. So we hope you'll join us for that. And by the way, the lunch Sunday is catered by Habibi in honor of the Israel theme. So it should be delicious lunch. We are going to conclude with Oseh Shalom, words of peace.
Oseh shalom bimromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Let's join together in Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu. Zikaron lema'aseh bereshit, ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh, zecher letziat Mitzrayim. Kivanu v'acharta, v'otanu kidashta, mikomim, v'shabbat kodshecha, ve'ahava uvratzon, inchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen.
Chaim.
L'chaim.
Hamotzi lachem
min haaretz.
We
give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together
as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Chag Sameach. If you'd like to go to the sukkah, the blessing for being in the sukkah is the standard blessing, and it ends with the words, Leshev basukah, to live or dwell in the sukkah. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.